Hi everyone, this is a brief guide on how to set up the Solaire. So to start off, we're going to touch the top left of the screen to bring us into the menu mode. And what you can do at this level is you can save the preset, you can exit to the main menu, alright. You can reset the device to factory defaults, and you can flash it with a new UF2 or firmware file. That's available on the website. Now, there are basically 5 areas or 5 controls that you can change. Each of them has got a button next to each display with a line just to indicate that you are now working with that particular control. And all of these controls, you can adjust the text at the top, so you can use the keyboard change the text. You can change how this thing interacts. So there's a physical touch, which is the main button here, but you can also make this a touch button, which goes, you can touch it instead of using the physical button. This can be either a button or an expression. So especially when you start looking at the other ones, we look at the expression values. And it can be latching or momentary if it's a button. So right now it's latching, it'll keep that value. Press it again, it'll unlatch. Momentary will just do its thing while you press it. Okay, so we have this item that allows you to change how the controller works. Then we have the MIDI setup and the coloring for the default released state or non-active state. So we've got a color that you can change. We have got a destination, which should normally be either USB or Bluetooth. You can activate or deactivate either one of these or both. And then the bottom part of this is where you set up the MIDI messages. Now you can send a single MIDI byte, 2 MIDI bytes, or most commonly 3 MIDI bytes. This is currently a control change. The controller is 10 and the value is 0. Now this same setup repeats for the normally pressed. So right now it's red. If I press it, it goes red. If I make it orange, if I press it, it goes orange. You can change the indicator color in this area. Once again, either USB or Bluetooth or both. And then you have single, double or 3 byte MIDI message and the actual MIDI message. Now if you change one of these, you can actually do them one at a time by using the little keyboard. Okay. And lastly on this list is the expression. So this is a variable value. So let's go to the second one. Let's do this guy over here. This is set up as an expression value. If I look at the kind of controller setup, it's a touch expression, so whatever I do here will follow the touch, and that will send a USB or a Bluetooth signal each time this changes. It only sends the signal when it changes. It doesn't send it at any other time, so it's quite conservative on the MIDI messages. And this will send a value. See that if I look at this last value here, the 14, if I change this value and I just refresh it, you see this value changes. So actually on the expression value, you really only control the controller type, whether it's a note or a control signal or a program change, the value, but on the expression this last digit or byte gets affected by your controller. Alright, so it doesn't really make a difference if you change it or not. It'll change by default when you change the screen. Alright, so we have got the same setup for this guy, which is also a touch expression controller, this guy as well, and this last one is going to set up to be a touch button and it's latching. So if I select it, you'll see it's blue, or actually cyan for the selected value. Touch it again, it's unlatched. Alright, so once you're done with this, you've done your setup, you can just select one of these main items again, whichever one is selected. It will deselect all of this and you're back to the main menu, in which case you can then save it. So I'm going to save it now, and then we can see how it looks once it's been restarted. Now the reason we might want to save it is this will now come up as a Bluetooth or USB device with this particular name. Right, so each time you change the device name, it is best practice to rather save it, so that way the USB and message names gets shown correctly. If you don't want to keep the changes, you can just press exit, and each time you then restart the machine you'll be back to whatever you saved. So let's have a look at that. So let's go to the menu items. Let's just change this value to just that, and I'm going to say exit. Now it'll keep that, but if I disconnect the power on it and I restart it, just add power again, you'll see it reverts back to the saved preset. Alright, that's the difference between save and exit. Right, thanks for watching. There's more videos to come later. Bye bye.